August 1, 1876. Colorado admitted. Colorado was officially admitted as the 38th state of the United States, cementing its role in the nation's expansionist era and the political landscape of the post-Civil War period. The date coincided with the nation's centennial, earning Colorado the nickname the Centennial State. The path to statehood had been long and politically charged, reflecting the complex interplay between Western expansion, economic ambition, and federal oversight. Colorado's journey to statehood began with the creation of the Colorado Territory on February 28, 1861, by an act of Congress signed by President James Buchanan. The territory was carved out from portions of the Kansas, Nebraska, Utah, and New Mexico territories. The establishment of the territory was prompted by the discovery of gold in 1858 near present-day Denver, which triggered the Pikes Peak Gold Rush and drew thousands of settlers westward. The influx of population and the economic promise of mineral wealth justified the territorial organization. During the Civil War, Colorado remained under Union control and contributed troops to the war effort, most notably at the Battle of Glorieta Pass in 1862, often referred to as the Gettysburg of the West. The territory's continued loyalty to the Union was later cited as a supporting argument for statehood. Efforts to achieve statehood had begun as early as the 1860s, with several constitutional conventions and proposed constitutions drafted between 1864 and 1875. However, these efforts were repeatedly rejected by Congress or blocked by presidents for various political reasons. A notable early attempt occurred in 1864, when Colorado voters approved a constitution and elected officials, but President Andrew Johnson vetoed the Enabling Act in 1866, arguing that the territory's population was insufficient for statehood. Political momentum resumed under President Ulysses S. Grant, who urged Congress in his 1873 State of the Union address to admit Colorado. By 1875, Congress passed the Colorado Enabling Act, which authorized the residents of the territory to draft a state constitution. A convention was held in December 1875, and a constitution was approved by voters in July 1876. President Grant formally proclaimed Colorado's admission on August 1, 1876. The admission of Colorado was significant for several reasons. First, it represented the nation's continued commitment to the doctrine of manifest destiny, embodying the federal government's desire to populate and politically integrate the Western territories. Colorado's strategic location in the Rocky Mountains provided access to natural resources and positioned it as a key transportation and communication hub in the American West. Second, Colorado's statehood marked a political milestone in the context of Reconstruction and national reconciliation. Following the turmoil of the Civil War and the re-entry of Southern states into the Union, the admission of a loyal Western state provided a symbolic contrast to the former Confederate states. The Republican Party, which held power at the federal level, also saw Colorado as a valuable political ally, given its pro-Union stance and Republican-leaning population. Economically, statehood enabled Colorado to take greater control over its natural resources, especially mining operations that had been dominant since the gold and silver booms. With statehood came representation in Congress, allowing the new state to advocate for federal infrastructure projects such as railroads and irrigation systems. The Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, established in the 1870s, played a crucial role in linking Colorado to national markets and stimulating urban growth, particularly in Denver, which became the state capital. Statehood also accelerated social and legal developments. The new state constitution included provisions for public education and civil liberties, although suffrage remained limited to male citizens. Nevertheless, Colorado would later become a leader in progressive reforms, being the second state to grant women the right to vote in 1893. In summary, the admission of Colorado as the 38th state was a landmark event in U.S. history, signifying Western consolidation, post-Civil War political strategy, and economic integration. The coincidence with the Centennial year enhanced its symbolic value, anchoring Colorado's identity as a state born during a period of national reflection and renewal. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.